This is Amplify You, the podcast about you discovering your message and broadcasting it to the world. If you're a coach, author, or speaker, you'll want to tune in. If you're looking for the best return on your time investment to get your message out to the world in a bigger way, we're giving you full access and behind the scenes look of how we're running our podcast, how our clients have found success, and what you can do to launch your podcast today. The world needs your message. I'm Michelle Abraham, the host. Join my family as we unleash your unique genius and find the connections you need to launch your adventure today. Join us and let's get amplified. Hello, Amplify You family. Michelle Abraham, your host here today. And I have got an awesome Ask the Expert interview for you today. I've got my good friend Jim Padilla with me today from Gain the Edge. Hey, Jim, how are you?
Hey, Michelle. So glad to be here.
Well, I'm super excited to have you here because not only are you going to talk to us about all sorts of great things around sales and systems and processes, but I have also had firsthand experience in your program working with your team. So I'm excited to share what your brilliance with our Amplify You audience today. So guys, let me share you a little bit more about Jim. So Jim is the founder and CEO of Gain the Edge, which is a done-for-you provider and industry-leading sales system. It's kind of like the unicorn sales professionals. He co-heads it with his wife and entrepreneurial partner in crime, Cindy Padilla. Through their unique blend of laser-targeted selling systems, inspirational team building expertise, and 60-plus years of combined sales experience, Jim and his wife have generated over $250 million in sales for a long line of high-level visionary entrepreneurs. And I just want to say, guys, the who's in the industry of the online businesses have all worked with Jim and Cindy. And that's, I love how you kind of built this business and specifically like around like events and now like the events are like everywhere, virtual and in person. And it's really cool. So Jim, I'm super excited you're here with us today. And I want to just dive in with like, why are sales and having sales systems so important to us as entrepreneurs, and why do you guys do the done for you services? What made you guys kind of like think that was what our industry needs for our poor thought leaders out there?
Yeah, well, again, thanks for bringing me in to be able to share with your audience. We've been very blessed to work with a lot of amazing leaders and change makers and people that are really changing the world. And the thing that we recognize is if you don't have this is like simple, boil this down to a simple equation as possible. If you are the person that is required to do all of your sales, or you can't imagine somebody else being able to do the sales the way you do them, then you're the problem, right? Because the offer shouldn't be centered around you. The offer should be able to deliver it without you, right? Our goal is never to make you great at sales. Our goal is to remove you from the sales process. And that's easily done when we can dial in the offer, dial in your prospect journey, your avatar, sales systems. We build sales systems, work pipelines, like everything that makes it predictable and simple and easy to lead people to the next step and lead a salesperson, right? Our goal is to make sure that you can have a system in place that allows an average salesperson to sell your product consistently and predictably. And if you don't have a system for that, then you're the system, which means you are not replicatable, you are not scalable, and you're stuck where you are.
And here I thought I was doing so good at sales this whole time. And surprise, I shouldn't be the one doing the sales. And that's exactly where I was when I came across Jim and Cindy's program. And it's interesting because I was doing a lot of sales and sales were being good. But what I learned was that, oh my gosh, like I'm selling me and not the program. And so I thought there's no way someone else could come in and take this over the way I'm doing it right now. And it was true. But I'm here to say that we've been successful at now we have Jason, who's absolutely amazing at doing our sales for our team. And it's only been a few months in, but he's, someone else can sell our product and services and podcasting services and Amplify You now. And I never thought that would happen.
Right. And that's where a lot of us get, right? We just get to that place where we've been doing, you created this. This is your baby.
Mm.
You invented it. It's in your heart. It's in your head. It's in your DNA. And so it's really hard to imagine that somebody could step into that. But if you get a good quality system in place, it becomes the glue between what your excellence is and somebody else being able to package it well.
Yeah. And for our listeners today, can you kind of unpackage what does that look like? What is like a system? What are the pieces of the system that are needed for it to be working like a well-oiled machine?
Yeah, well, you need to make sure that you have a quality offer. And here's the real rub, guys. This is the simplest way to determine if your offer is rocking, then your bank account will reflect it. Right? You need a clear, compelling offer that is simply packaged. See, here's the thing. You all, no matter who you are listening, you have a fantastic solution. Problem is, it's probably not packaged really well, which means you can talk to it because you know everything about it. So you can get somebody really excited about it. But to try to have somebody else talk about it, it would lose a lot of its flavor. And so we take it and make it really strong and packaged well so that the goal is that we could outproduce you with your own offer. Right. And so you need to have a great offer. You need to have a very clear and compelling avatar with a bleeding neck problem. A bleeding neck problem.
I love what you're saying. I always think of it in my head. Does this person have a bleeding neck problem? Thanks, Jim. It's in my head all the time now.
And that's your bullseye. It doesn't mean that's the only person you sell to. It's just the more of the people. If you have somebody, think about the difference between somebody with a sore neck, right? I wake up with a sore neck a lot of times, but I don't go to the hospital because I have a sore neck. Right. But if I woke up and my neck was gushing blood, I'm pretty much going to the hospital or I'm going to die. Right. And you want to have that same thought perspective with your offer. No matter what you offer, there is a bleeding neck version of somebody with that problem. That person is the one you want to be leading towards you. And then you need a really strong prospect journey, which is just something that leads people one step at a time towards the solution. Right. And many times we don't. We just have stuff. We have messages, we have email, we have things. But are you intuitively leading them so that every time they take a step towards you, they're like, yeah, this feels right. I'm in the right place, right? It's affirming their process and their decision. And you're leading them to that intersection of problem and solution, right? And then and then understanding that 90% of the people who are ever going to buy from you are not going to buy from you today. They're going to buy from you in the future, right? Well, too many times all we do is focus on how many new people can be introduced into my world and how many offers can I make to them? And then how do I get more people? Well, what about the people who've been in your world? And if you have an active, intelligent, intuitive process that allows you to follow up with these people and bring them back to the table with you to have a conversation so that you stay relevant and valuable over time with them so that when they're ready to buy, you're the person that they buy from. Most people don't do that because they don't know what to say or what to do, and they don't have a system for ensuring that they say or do it. But when you do, then all of a sudden you'll start seeing that you'll start making more sales from the back end than you do from the front end because you're staying around in these people's world, right? So these are just a handful of the systems that you have to have in place, which then make it really easy for a salesperson to be able to deliver value. All they have to do is show up and serve and connect the dots, and then you're closing sales. It doesn't require a magician to try to force people to buy your product.
Right. And you're not selling yourself anymore. You're selling the system and you're selling something that's replicatable, which I love. Yeah, that's so interesting. There's so many pieces that are involved in it, but how do we get the entrepreneurs like where I was so stuck in the day-to-day of everything, and doing lead generation and sales myself, like how do you get people sales team ready? Because ideally you want to bring in a sales team into your business so that it relieves the visionary entrepreneur from doing that part of it. And so there was quite a bit of things that went into play into getting ready for that. Above and beyond all the things you just mentioned.
Yeah, well, the first step of this is understanding that, I hear this every day because I talk to people all the time about this. And most people are like, but I like doing the sales. And I have fun doing it. And hey, God bless you. I mean, I like it too. But my guess is you didn't lay awake at night dreaming about your business so that you could be selling people stuff every day. Right. I'm assuming that's not why you got into business.
It did not involve. It involved a beach chair on a beach with a margarita.
Right. Exactly. Hey, I own a sales organization and I don't dream about selling people stuff every day. Right. And I happen to be good at it. Um, but what we wanted, you actually got in business because you want to serve people. You want to change people's lives. You want to bring people's message forth. You want to build a movement. You wanted to build an empire, whatever it is that you want, or sip Mai Tais on the beach while somebody else is running your business. Whatever reason you got into business, I'm pretty certain it was not to chase leads and convert sales.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so the first part is understanding what is the true value, the measure of the value that you deliver to your business. And when you are doing so, how are people experiencing you and your brand as they're moving closer to buying from you? Right. So you always want to be thinking about that. And when you're when you're building a sales process and system, that's the main thing. At the core of it, you are constantly moving people closer to an understanding of why they should do business with you with every step of the process, whether you're delivering a podcast episode, whether you're sending an email, a text message, a voicemail drop, or doing an event, every single thing that they experience of you should lead them one step closer to understanding, wow, I really like this. It's not about them buying stuff from you because they're going to buy or they won't. And some of them will buy now, some will buy 30 days, some will buy 60 days, some will buy a year and a half from now.
Mm-hmm.
But every time they're with you, it should be reaffirming the decisions that they've made so far to stay in your world and follow you. And here's a real key distinction. We're in I don't like calling it the recession or whatever. I'm not, this isn't about fear mongering. I call them exciting times because in these kind of times is when opportunities are the greatest. Right. Is when people are fearful. They're full of doubt and concern and frustration and anxiety, and they don't know what to do next, and they're retracting. Those are when they need you to go on offense. The people who are going to win in these times are people who have a system, a plan, and a strategy, and are going forward to be found and to grab these people and lead them towards a solution. When you're that person, people are going to follow you, right? David Starr Jordan, one of my favorite quotes, says, "The world stands aside and lets pass any man who clearly knows where he is going." And of course, woman as well, right? But when you are clear and on purpose and you have an attractive odor to you, right? You have a scent. People are like, oh, I like, people are attracted to confidence. Especially when at times when other people are uncertain. And so when you know exactly where your leads are coming from, you know exactly what they're doing, you know exactly what they need, you know exactly how to solve their problem, and you consistently are beating that drum all over town, people start marching behind you, and they want to be there. They want to know what you got and how to get it.
And that sounds like so many of our experts we work with, where they're the movement creators. They're starting to get that following behind them of people. They've done those things right, where they're so magnetizing to the people that are following them. Podcast hosts are like especially, got that magnetism behind them, and so I think that's really cool. What would you say are some of the things that you're seeing that are defining the difference between the people that are doing things right and getting ready and the people aren't successfully able to bring that team in or not able? What are the things that they're doing wrong or they're not able to do?
The biggest thing that I see is that people don't have patience. Everybody is so busy. It's hard. I mean, I see so many awesome solutions and ideas out there every day. Scrolls through my feed or in my inbox. I'm like, oh, that would be cool. Let me check that out. It's a new software. It's a new solution. It's a new lead generation tool. It's a new AI, and everything is a good idea unless you try them all. Right? You need to be crystal clear on what it is, what problems you're trying to solve, and you need to go deep in that platform. If you're working on optimizing your webinars, then become the best webinar deliverer on the planet, and don't worry about all of the other platforms. Don't worry about doing events and doing launches and doing all stuff. Just focus on the webinar. If you're great at doing workshops and events, then do those, right? Have a process and a system that leads predictably from one step to the next. Maybe you do a webinar that leads to an event that then, fills the launch or something, but that's okay. You just need to make sure you're delivering it and wearing it out. You should plan on anything you're doing to do it multiple times so that you get better at it every single time. Too many times we try one, oh, that didn't work the way I wanted. Let me go try this other thing. Let me try this.
Never doing email marketing again. Nobody responded.
Right. So stop chasing the greatest solution. Anytime somebody says this is the best way, run, because there's no such thing. There's the best way for this thing at this moment, at this time, for this product, for this offer at this price point.
Right.
That's the only thing they can say. They can't guarantee it's the best for anything else. The moment they're saying that is because they're trying to get you to buy their thing. Right.
Right.
So stay totally in tune. The main thing you have to be doing is always sharing your message so that new people are wanting to follow you. And then when people are coming in, you got to have the responsibility and the diligence to make sure that the people who already raised their hand to say, I want to learn more, your job is to ensure that you are giving them what they need to continually learn more. And that doesn't mean making offers to them every day, although you need to be making offers every day. But not to the same person, right? I'm not going to offer Michelle the same thing every single day. I'm going to be making offers to new people because I'm always looking at sharing my message and challenging people to come into my world every day, giving them an opportunity and then serving them until they're ready for another opportunity.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What would you say is like the best lead generation these days? Like there's so many different ways to constantly have a flow of lead generation. How do you keep that going? And I know we were just talking about this before I press record. I was like, I was so good at lead generation. And then now I have a person that's doing sales for me. And I'm like, oh my God, I really need to do more lead generation because now I have someone else that's helping. So how do we keep that constant lead generation on? So it's like a tap that we can turn on.
Well, lead generation is always a crazy thing, and there's a lot of different approaches. The best advice that I can give is you need to be visible constantly. You need to give people an opportunity to step into your world every single day. And now you can decide. Now people will say nothing works like video. Well, maybe unless you suck on video, right? Then maybe that's not the place. If you got to determine, are you great on audio, video, or in writing, and then go deep with one of them. Potentially all of them, but pick one. If you're phenomenal at writing blog posts and content, then write copy, write content, and share it until your hands bleed, right? Because right now, Grant Cardone says, he's controversial and different people like him for different things. I don't think he's the greatest sales trainer on the planet, but I really, really admire his insane commitment to success. And one of the things that he says that I wholeheartedly subscribe to is right up there on my whiteboard. Says best known beats best product every day. And I wholeheartedly subscribe to that. How many times do you see somebody who is half as smart as you, half as good as you, been doing this half as long, and they're crushing it simply because they got seen more often and more people know them than know you. Right? Best known beats best product every day. You have to be visible. And the whole world is online now, which means there's a crowded marketplace. So your job is to be as visible as you can in as many places as you can, but as many of the right places as you can where your ideal client with the bleeding neck problem is. And then you need to stop all of the nonsense and the BS, and you need to speak to the problem all the time. Speak to the problem in a 360-degree perspective. Talk about it from the left, from the right, from above, from below, because every way you can talk about it demonstrates that you really understand it. Share stories, share case studies, share the pains, share the deep desires and the pains and the thoughts of the things that they have. Like you don't just say, oh, it sucks not having clients, because that's true. But then what else does it do when you can't make sales every single day? I talk about how you can struggle. It sucks when you have to start making sales to people that you don't really want to sell to, but simply you need a paycheck today. So you need to sell this person, even though you don't really want to work with them. Right. And then you start questioning your own success and confidence. You watch these other people who you're better than, you've been doing this better, and you're a world known expert, but your bank account doesn't reflect it. So now you're starting to wonder, am I even good at this? Should I even be doing this? Whatever's going on. Right. So I'm just speaking to the mindset of the person that I know I can help and serve, but I'm speaking at a level of depth and distinction of clarity that is painting very specifics in their mind. And the more specifics you can paint in their mind, the more they're interested in needing to know more, because they want to fill in the blanks and the rest. And they're going to assume that you understand. If you understand that piece of them, they're going to assume you understand all of them. And they're going to give you the opportunity to demonstrate how you can fill in that picture for them. Right. But you have to be bold. You have to be clear. You have to make sure that when you speak about what you do, that you speak about it in a way that nobody else does, and that you're clear and compelling about it, and that you are unwavering and unmoving in your perspective and your position around it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because I see people like having messages, but the message is slightly different here and slightly different there and slightly different there, but it's not the same message, and it's not going deep on that same message and that solution. And
Right.
it gets then confusing, I think, for the listeners or for the audience.
Yeah. First of all, give other people credit for being smart, right?
Mm,
You need a different message for people. You need to
right.
reinforce the message that you share. I have people who listen to my stuff all the time. They've heard the same message from me 100 times, if not 1,000, and they still listen because they agree with it and they own it. So when you share a perspective that other people resonate with, they start to believe it. Then they start to buy into it. Then they start to own it. And then they start sharing it as if it's theirs because they
Mm.
feel like, God, I am so resonant with what he's saying, that they start giving themselves credit for having the idea. In fact, that's the way our brain works. That's the way our subconscious works. So your job is not to sprinkle them with messages. It's to hammer your message home over and over, right? Because that which gets repeated gets remembered, and that's what gets remembered gets believed.
Right.
And most people are so busy trying to sound different all the time that you never give a chance for a message to grow roots and go
Mm.
deep in somebody's world.
So you should take it as a compliment if someone starts sounding like you over
Yes,
time.
absolutely.
Don't be offended by it. It's good.
Yeah.
It's like your bleeding neck thing. I think of that thing all the time. I know where it
Yeah.
came from.
Yeah, it's important. I mean, I want people to be able to repeat my stuff, I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes people get offended, and I've seen, we share our Leads Made Easy concept, which you've seen, and it's a
Hmm.
waterfall exercise, and it's a really good delineator on time and readiness of people who are ready to buy from you. So it's not just an avatar exercise, it's more of a when exercise. But we have tons of clients who teach that inside of their own webinars or inside of their own content because it's such a good example. I could be like, that's my IP. I'm like, no, I love the fact that people resonate with what we're teaching so much that they want to teach it too.
Yeah, that's cool.
Right. That's just, you should see that as a sign, just a total, sign of confidence and competence in what you do, that other people want to teach it. And it's like, hallelujah. I create content every day. I could care less. You all have, just share your best ideas and you will come
Right.
up with new ones.
Right. I love it. And speaking about your content, I know you have a podcast. You want to share with us where we can listen more about all the things you're up to through your podcast?
Yeah, it's the Sales Team Ready podcast, and I don't like the name of it because that's the name of our product. It's just so our mastermind group is that, as you know,
Mhm.
and so we just decided to name that. But it really should be is Scale to the Mountaintop and Profit. So because it's all about people wanting to reach the mountaintop experience of what you're capable of. My objective is not to convince you that the mountaintop is worthy. My job is to work with motivated people who already want the mountaintop and show you how to
Mhm.
get there. Right.
Mhm.
So we want you to buy wholeheartedly into your dreams and your desires, throw your fears and doubts out of the way and get moving, and then just start grabbing on because, we got support to help you get there. And once you know that you are capable of leading a movement, changing the world, creating something powerful, then you need to be sold out to that mountaintop. And then when you start climbing, the help will start appearing. Right. And
Mhm.
we are there. There are so many people that are on that journey that are more than willing to reach out that hand and say, come on, I got you. Right.
Mhm.
But if you're too busy at the base of the mountain just staring up there going, boy, I don't know, someday maybe, no one's going to help you. There's nothing to help you with. I don't need to help
Mhm.
you stand there. Right. So once you
Yeah.
get moving, then the help starts showing up because
Right.
you're stating to the world, I am in action and I have a commitment and I am ready to roll. Now I just need the help to make it happen.
Right. And when that help comes, it makes it easier and easier to move up that mountain. My
Absolutely.
goodness. Now, Jim, you've seen so many entrepreneurs out there that run events, and there's the $1 million events, and then there's like the $10,000 events. What's the difference between the two?
It's really the biggest difference between the two is somebody who has a clearer positioning
Hmm.
and a better resource. Really, what it comes down to is if you have a product, an offer
Hmm.
that's seasoned, an event that's seasoned, and an audience that's seasoned,
Hmm.
you're going to run hundreds and thousands of persons events, right? But if you have a newer product, a newer event, and a newer audience, then you got to be okay with milestones and benchmarks. We have pulled six-figure results out of rooms of 10 people, out
Hmm.
of put 22 people in a room and
Hmm.
generated $500,000 in revenue. It's all about the strategy behind it. And again, it's not about how many people are in the room. It's
The
about
right
getting the
people.
right
Hmm.
people in the room and then building the right experience around them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that doesn't matter. And we've done plenty. We've done both. We've done six figures in events with 8 people in a room that paid $5,000 to be there and then sold them into a $25,000 opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
and 7 out of the 8 bought. And then we've had times where there's 150 people in the room that we've delivered, $100,000 because it was just volume and it was the wrong people and everything didn't click. But then it produced another 100, 200, and $300,000 in the 6 months beyond the event, right? So it's not just
Mm-hmm.
doing an event; it's understanding what role does an event play in your overall business
Right.
strategy, right?
Yeah.
And so you always want to be thinking about that, and so don't rule yourself out. The main thing, like I said, is always, if you're going to do an event or a launch or podcast, whatever it's going to be,
Mm-hmm.
always plan on doing multiple. And
Right.
don't ever do one standalone event. Plan on doing 2 or 3 so that you can literally implement. The hardest work is coming in the first one.
Right.
Then you can optimize it and do it
Yeah.
again, and then optimize it and do it again. Then pretty soon it starts rinse and repeating by itself. And then now you're just focused on getting more people in front of it. Right. Then you could turn it into an asset, a digital asset that becomes a recorded module that you can sell or use as training material and support. Right. And it just gives you more credibility. You can break up key pieces of your event and turn them into sound bites that you can put out just like on a podcast
Mm.
and start sharing with people. Right.
Yeah, I feel like that's why people just stop as they do it once. They don't continue doing it until it's at that rinse and repeat stage. So that's a really key piece. Speaking about events, I know you guys have a really exciting event coming up pretty soon. Can you share with us a little bit about that?
We do. It's called Sales Team Already Live, and actually, I think they're at my marketing team. I'm so detached from the day to day, but our marketing team, it might not even be the name of it anymore. But Sales Team Ready Live is what the working title is. But here's the key: as an outsourced sales company, people come to us, have been coming up to us for 8 years to hire salespeople and put salespeople in their company, and so we step in as their sales division to do that. What we recognize is that over the years, nobody comes to us ready for sales teams. And so we would jump in and start building out all the systems and the processes to make it happen. And then over this last year, we decided, let's take all of those systems and processes and let's productize them and offer them to people who are not at scale yet, but want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're that 6-figure entrepreneur that is wanting to scale that mountain to 7, then Sales Team Ready event is where we're going to open up all of our playbook, and we're going to help you build a sales playbook so that you can have the systems in place that will help you be ready to hire a salesperson, whether it's a company like us or if you're building your own sales team. You still need a system in place so that they can do their job predictably and consistently selling your goods without having to be some kind of crazy magician, unicorn, rockstar salesman.
Right, or yourself. And I remember going into that event last year with you guys going, I'm still going to do my sales. I'll still do my sales, but I want to learn all this stuff that I need to get in place first. And boy, was I wrong, and so glad I was wrong. But the help and the support and the systems and the training is like invaluable. It was so good to learn all those things that need to go into place. And I thought I was pretty smart, but I had no idea what I was missing and how much stuff I was missing in order to make things work and be able to have a salesperson and a sales team for our business. And it's made it made a huge impact. So make sure you get yourselves there, guys. Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Just to understand, just like in your business, efficiencies of infrastructure is a real thing. And all that means is we deliver 25,000 sales conversations a year, which is more than you're probably going to deliver in any 10 lifetimes. Mm-hmm. So it stands to reason that we've got a lot of systems, processes, strategies. We've solved problems that you haven't even encountered yet, and so working with a company like us is just to help lay out those systems and all of the setting you up for success so that somebody can sell your products consistently without you, rather than you trying to figure it out on your own, because you don't get a gold star if you figure it out on your own. You just, you get the gold star if it's figured out. And so just let some people help you. Just like in your business, the things that you do super well, that you can do in your sleep, that other people need to pay you for. Yeah.
And then when it comes to something like this, you don't know what you don't know either. You right. Just you have no idea what by letting a team come in that has so much experience is is invaluable. So make sure you guys go check out. We'll put the links to the event in the show notes, and we'll put it out on our social media as well. But it's a definitely not to miss event. Just go for the event. You're going to learn so much and get so much out of it. I promise. I know I did. So Jim, thank you so much for spending this time with us today. I know you're a busy guy, and I'm so glad that we were able to catch you and bring you on for this episode. I think this is really helping our podcasters think beyond just their podcast and bridging their podcast into their business, using their podcast as lead flow, and starting to get ready for bringing on someone other than themselves to do the sales in their business. So thank you so much.
Amen. Thanks for trusting me to be part of your success team.
No problem. Any last words for our listeners out there today, Jim?
Just recognize that there are people out there who are praying for what you do. What you do matters, and you deserve to be paid well for it. So don't feel like you have some obligation to the world to give your services without expecting to be paid well for it, right? So make sure that you have the wherewithal to collect the revenue, get the cash register ringing, so that you can actually deliver the kind of impact that you are called to, and you can create the movements, the charities, the services that you're capable of. But unfortunately, the way it works in this world is you need to have resources, the capacity to be able to generate revenue predictably, even on days when you're not working. Mm-hmm. So take action, be responsible, do the things necessary to stand out and increase market share in these exciting times that are coming.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jim. Have a fabulous day. Amplify You listeners. Make sure you go check out the event coming up soon in our show notes, and go check out Jim's podcast, Sales Team Ready. And we'll talk to you soon, Jim. Thanks so much.
Thank you.